Very fast computer. This review is for Linux compatibility with this laptop. I am not familiar with Windows and therefore not really capable or interested in writing a review from that vantage point. I want to give a little context for this review. I have been running Linux on laptops for a decade or more. I've had two Asus ROG laptops, a couple of Dells including the Inspiron Gaming 15 5775 and a handful of Intel-only machines. It is also important to note that I prefer to install Arch Linux. Usually when a spec sheet has Ubuntu listed, the machine will also work under Arch just fine. The computer I am typing this on is the Inspiron 5775 with very similar hardware to the G5587 in this review. I assumed it would be basically a drop-in replacement, but that wasn't the case. The first thing I did was take an NVMe drive I had with an Arch install and try to get that working. On the Intel graphics it worked like a charm, and I thought I was off to the races. However, Optimus Video was not activating. I tried playing around with it for 3 hours or so, doing everything I could think of, checking the settings of the Inspiron 5775 etc. I couldn't get it to use the NVIDIA graphics. Next I took the step of taking the hard drive out of the 5775 and put it in the G5587, thinking that any misconfiguration or missed packages would be solved because I know this install works. Interestingly, this did not work at all. The desktop GNOME would just constantly show something went wrong and then log out. In addition, via this method the backlit keyboard did not respond to the function keys at all, and was stuck in the off position. As an intermediate step, I got a copy of Ubuntu Mate 19.10 beta and ran through the install taking the defaults, and in 15 minutes was greeted by a working desktop Excel. Okay, I thought, I'll just nuke this and do a fresh Arch install from scratch. I now know that it isn't a hardware problem, it's a software problem. I walked through the setup again, and after a few minutes, arrived at a desktop. To get the same something went wrong error on the NVIDIA graphics card. At which point I gave up on Arch. The moral of the story is simply, Dell has right in their spec sheet that they support Ubuntu, so I installed Ubuntu Mate, and set it up, and the laptop has been working beautifully ever since. It even has a nice indicator app to switch between the Intel and NVIDIA graphics cards, and it shows the logo of which one is currently active in the taskbar. As for the rest of the hardware itself, I did turn on the computer and wait about 10 minutes for the Windows first time setup to show up. This is when I decided the 1TB spinning rust this thing came with was completely insufficient. I yanked that out and threw the entire disk in the drawer, never accepting the EULA in the event we sell this laptop to someone else in the future. With an NVMe drive, this laptop boots very quickly. Suspend and resume is almost instant. I was very impressed with that. And there are some CPU intensive tasks that I notice improvements on. On a side note, I tried to put some Team T-Force Vulkan 16GB TLRD416G2666HC18FS01 in this laptop because it says it supports up to 32GB of RAM and the board would not post with this RAM in either slot. In fact, when I put the original RAM back in, the BIOS reported last several boots, there was no RAM in the board. I returned the RAM and ended up getting G-Skill Ripjaws Series 8GB F42666C19S8GRS, and that gave me no issues whatsoever. I don't know if the Team T-Force RAM was dead or incompatible with the board, so just a word of warning. TLDR*, usually, if a machine supports Ubuntu, it is okay to try other versions of Linux. For the G5587, this was not my experience. * Laptop may be picky about RAM, possible I could have had a DOA piece. I had no way to test pros. * Good price for decent hardware. * Not as heavy as previous generations. * Good noise, fan profile when doing non-gaming tasks. Machine is basically silent. Asterisk has a number pad. Asterisk it is very easy to service. One screw pops the cover off. Asterisk works out of the box with Ubuntu, which is what Dell claims. Asterisk BIOS is easy to update. Asterisk has a USB-C port. Cons. Asterisk I find the keyboard a bit cramped compared to the Inspiron 5775. Asterisk trackpad is. This caused accidentally activating the mouse. Asterisk spinning rust is terrible. Replace immediately or get a model with SSD, NVMe. Asterisk speakers were quieter than expected. Asterisk just different enough from previous versions that Arch and a few other distro could not utilize the same config. Asterisk has a latch instead of a solid Ethernet port. While it feels solid, if it breaks, as I have had happen to other laptops, the port will become useless. Summary: this is a decent laptop for the price and I am generally happy with the purchase. There are newer GPUs out there, 1650 GTX for example, but for my use case it wasn't worth the small premium to upgrade. The HDD is garbage, but I expected to replace this anyways. If you are looking for a laptop that just works with Ubuntu, this is your guy. It's pretty portable, worked with Ubuntu with no fuss and provides enough performance. For example, World of Warcraft Classic on max settings using Lutri at 220 FPS in Stormwind to satisfy my needs. All in all, it doesn't break the bank and delivers what it says it does. Good product. No issue and everything is as expected and as promised. Click link in description for more reviews.